Hello, everybody, and welcome to Total War Live. My name is Darren. I'm part of the community team, and I'm joined today by Simon Mann, designer on Total
Hello.
War. So today is a bit of a different stream. This is Total War Live. We come live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. GMT, so we'll be here next week at the same time. And basically, as you may have noticed if you follow our social media, that we said we've got like a tiny little announcement to make here, and a bit of a feature for Total War Warhammer coming up. So we'll just get straight into it, not to tease you guys any longer. So basically, to go into the news, so what we've got for you is basically battle map editing is coming to Total War Warhammer, and the beta is going to be available at the end of the stream. Now, this is actually super, super exciting because you're going to be able to make your own maps, and the new map tools are really, really intuitive, really user-friendly, very powerful, and yeah, basically you can share maps on the workshop and you can play them in multiplayer and things, and we'll go through kind of the feature list for this at the moment. So the beta, this will roll out when Bretonnia comes out toward the end of the month. We're not going to be showing any Bretonnian features here today, but there's plenty of unique Bretonnian features coming. Don't you worry. But today is going to be all focused on the assembly kit and the battle map editor and how easy it is to use. And we've got some maps that some of the community have made that we kind of gave it out to them secretly that we're going to show. And basically at the end of the stream, the workshop will go live with this stuff and you can play it straight away if you want. All right, so let's go down just some of the features really quickly. So this is a beta. So a couple of the caveats we have at the moment are that it's Windows 10 only. It will be Windows 7 and 8 as soon as it comes out for everyone else, but just Windows 10 at the moment. And the only other tiny little bug is that Grass isn't currently generating in-game. Once the update rolls out, though, Grass will just populate itself within your maps anyway, so it's actually fine.
Yep.
So some of the features. So the battle map editor is actually called Terry. Do you know why that is?
Secretly, it's because internally we name all our tools after people. It's named after a guy called Terry Scott, I think.
Okay.
Who was a Carry-On actor.
Oh, right. Okay.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's
sure.
also because it stands for Terrain Editor. So
Right,
it's like
yeah.
Terry.
So this allows land battle map editing for custom and multiplayer battle. Full suite. You get a full suite of environment models, props, sound effects, and VFX for map creation. You can place AI hints, deployment editing, no-go regions, terraforming, texture terrain painting, and so on. You've got a customizable layout, which we'll show you, an easy one-click export that just pops it into your game data folder if you want to, and actually boots up the launcher and everything. And then something I'm very excited about is live map transfer in multiplayer. So basically, if you just simply host a game with a custom map, let's say I make a map and I host a multiplayer battle, and then Simon joins my game, the map will just instantly transfer over to him so that he can join the game as well. And yeah, everything goes pretty smooth. Then, you'll probably school me in the game, I'm sure, seeing as he's a designer. But then once the battle is over, it'll delete off his machine, so he doesn't have to put up with my crappy map anymore. But if he wants, he can go to the workshop, subscribe to it, have it forever. And then, of course, you can share maps via the Steam Workshop and subscribe to your favorites. Having maps enabled won't affect your ability to join multiplayer games. So it works like mods. You tick it on in the launcher just like a mod. It does create a pack file, but the game recognizes it as a map, and it says, don't worry about it. We'll allow you to join different multiplayer games.
And it's worth stressing as well, like, you can access pretty much every mesh, building, and prop that we had in Warhammer as well. So these are all the tools we use to make the game will be available to use to build your own levels as well.
Mm-hmm. It's super nice to see, just like scroll through all the models and see like everything that goes into the game.
There are quite a lot of them to filter through.
All those like massive statues that are out in the distance, you can just pull them straight into the middle of your map if you want. So yeah, that's basically it. That's what's coming. This will be available at the end of the stream. There should be a forum post that'll go up at 4 o'clock at the end of the stream that'll give you this code to put into your beta or into the assembly kit and create the Cascade beta, and that allows you to play with Terry. So that's basically it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Simon go through some of the features here. We're going to move over to the showcase itself of the assembly kit beta. And if we go down to the battle editor, we go play tweak. And it just takes a little minute to fire up. I've made a really bad one that we might have a look at later, and then we've got a bunch of different ones that QA, when they're testing the tool, have made themselves. And then we've got a few that have been sent to us. I think Haxo the Hunter from YouTube has sent us one of his maps. And Doomon15, a guy that has won awards for his Attila map creation, has made some really interesting ones so far, even though it's been such early days. I think he's only had it about a week, and it looks great. So I'll let you take over, and you can maybe show us the beginning of creating a map in Terry and how easy and stuff it is to make one.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll just
don't expect anything amazing. I'm not an artist here.
Okay.
But basically, like, the main goal we had with the kind of Terry assembly kit was to try and kind of make map creation like a really simple process. So this is the tool that we've actually used to develop our maps in the game, but we've really simplified it in order to kind of make it easier to use to begin with. Sure. And the idea is that from this kind of simple seed, we'll start growing out the system with more and more features. So the first thing is we have the concept of like vistas. You're kind of setting the environment that your map will be played in. So depending on which factions and areas of the map, you'll get different environments that you can play with. So for example, now I'll start with like a Norscan climate. Okay. Because I like the snow. Basically, you literally click that, and what it'll do is it'll give you your environment, it'll give you outfield tiles, and it'll give you your kind of terrain textures that you'd be using. So as you can see here, as I zoom out, like this is kind of a big Norscan tile, kind of you've got the icy wastes and the mountains on the outside. So we have two main views in the editor. So we've got kind of the world view and the editor view, so here and here. So the editor view is basically when you want to build the map, right? And it's got all the debug lines, grids, things like that, things that you'd use from a level editor. And then the world view itself is purely for previewing your map.
Oh, hang on just one sec. There's an echo. I just need to turn down. Let's swap mics.
Okay.
Because that one tends to pick up the echo.
Service resumes.
Okay, should be better now. Give it a go.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Yeah, it should be okay.
We good?
I'll just sit back a bit.
It's my booming voice. Yeah, so basically that's how it works. So you've got kind of standard tools that you'd see in other editors, so you can kind of move things around and edit. So the first thing, as I say, it's called Terry. So the first thing you have is your terrain height painting tools. So essentially this allows you to kind of modify your terrain in a way that you want it to play. So, you know, when you're thinking of terrain, you're thinking of kind of like high points, low points, so height advantage. You're thinking about where features such as forest and stuff like that are going to go. So, you know, for now, I'll just start with kind of bringing it up. So you've got lots of different tools. So you've got the additive tool. So you're literally just kind of, every time you click, you're making more height. Right. You then have different brushes that you can use depending on what you want to make. So you can have square brushes, round brushes. You can also things like the scale of the brush, sizing, stuff like that. You can really play it to your heart's content. There's a lot of kind of power here. Yeah, I mean, I quite like to play with like a lot of scattering on the brush and playing with size jitter and stuff, because there's kind of like early pass on a map. It gives you a lot of kind of nice terrain. If you see like this, it gives you noise. As well. Yeah, and like you can press the H key here, for example, and you can actually see like a heat map of...
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know, there's lots of features in here. But basically, yeah, you can see kind of your little heat map of how the map is actually building up as you play. It's quite difficult to see it when you've got the snow terrain on, so you go like that way.
Just really quickly to answer some questions, because I don't want to ignore chat completely. So some people are asking, what about siege maps? For now, it is just land battle maps, and it works in multiplayer. However, you know, if enough people want it, and you know, we use the tool gets a lot of use. You know, hopefully, then we can, you know, you guys can end up building a bit more features into it and unlocking some more of the feature set that you guys use for that.
Yeah.
But sieges are very complicated and comes with a lot of even just UI problems to delegate that to the user that doesn't know about like certain stuff that works behind the scenes. So it takes a lot to do that. So basically, it's kind of like, let's see how this goes, this tool, and if a lot of people adopt it, then maybe we can do that.
I mean, the idea to think about this is kind of my first battle map editor, as it were. And as you say, like siege maps, what we learned from Attila modding especially was that siege maps are really difficult to author. Like they're so complex, so many layers of depth that isn't really well documented at the moment. So we decided to start with this simple thing. And basically what we'll do is it kind of picks up steam, as it were. We'll start adding more and more features and the ability to change more and more things. So yeah, so I say here, like I've got my little height map that I've built up. Then we've got the texture channels. So you've got your height channels, and your texture channels are basically, we call it blend map internally, but it's basically the kind of type of terrain that you're painting down. So like kind of you're painting blend map here. So as you paint it, you're actually changing the ground type as you go. And this actually affects in-game ground types as well. So for example, if I were to go for forest, so I want like a forested mountain, let's say. I can start painting in my forest here. And the nice thing about this is the way that we generate forests in our game is we don't kind of hand place each of the trees, as it were. We actually paint down a kind of forest ground type, like a forest texture.
And it gets populated.
And that gets populated in, yeah, totally. So as you can see here down in the bottom, it's loading procedural content. So it's basically generating your trees on the fly as you edit. So at some point in the near future, those trees will start appearing. And it's also based on the opacity of that texture as well. So since the opacity here is quite low.
Or higher, right?
Yes, it does. And as you get higher and higher, it goes more and more. Sorry.
Numpad changes the...
Oh, no.
Yeah, sorry. You're going to have to avoid numpad.
That's all right.
if you can.
Yeah, so as you can see here, well, it gave us perfect timing. So as you can see here, the trees have all generated now. And this, when you play the game, this will actually be forest in-game.
Sure.
So it'll be treated as forest, it'll hide units, things like that as you go. So now I've made this beautiful map with a small forest in it. I'll go on to kind of how you place items and things like that. So we've got prefabs, buildings, and props. So this is kind of the most complicated feature, basically, I think, to understand.
Sorry to cut across.
Go for it.
One cool thing I do think that is worth mentioning.
Mm.
With these different things, you can add different layers.
Oh, yeah.
And then turn on and off the layers. So if you go add layer, and whatever, layer 1, just something that I think is really cool. Like you can like build this all up and just test out like that feature. And then if you want, you can't really quite see it, then you can just toggle that on and off. So you can really like just kind of like in Photoshop or something like that, build upon what you've already got and see like does a hill work here without affecting the overall progress of your
Yeah, and that's the thing is if that layer is hidden when you build your map and put it in game, basically it doesn't go in game either. So only the maps that you see will actually go into
just a
game.
small thing, but I do think that was I mean I use it all the time just from so far, especially with the texture editing, because you want to like blend kind of mud on top of roads on top of like grass and stuff like that. So pretty cool. Oh,
Yeah.
Back to you.
It's weird. We use these things day
I'm
to day.
genuinely very excited about the tools. That's why I like using it.
Some of this is taken so much for granted. It's like, but yes. So we've got this idea of prefabs, buildings, and props. So basically, we'll start with the prop. A prop is literally like a visual mesh. So it's purely a thing that looks good, right? There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these. I mean, they're all organized by faction name, and you can filter it down here. So, I want to look at Bretonnia stuff. I'll get the BRT buildings coming in there.
Yeah.
And then I could have like let me see. So I could Bretonnia House Wooden.
A Bretonnia house covered in snow. What lore is this?
I know. This is their northern waste that they never actually had.
Sure.
So basically, yeah, so you can see this is just a prop though. So by being a prop, this has no collision, this won't break, nothing will happen to it. So it's actually used basically in areas where the game doesn't play generally, right? So kind of outfield there. So if you imagine like our underway maps, for example, all those kind of dwarfen ruins in the background, those would all have been done with props.
Yeah.
The next step is buildings. So buildings actually are built up of multiple props, which each have kind of different attributes. So these can have collision, they can have destruction as they go. It depends on the building itself as to what attributes it has, but like these are the things that have logic, basically.
Yeah. Someone said, show us the goofiest building. Just straight into the lowest common denominator. All the really interesting technical stuff. Show us the goofiest building.
Goofiest building. I'm trying to think of what it is.
There are some massive statues that the cool thing is you can scale all this as well. If you look at the top right, it says scale and the azimuth and things like that. You can take a tiny little building or a statue and just make it like absolutely massive. You can make that dwarf hold whatever he wants in those hands.
So yeah, that's a good point actually.
You can have total fun.
You can kind of move. So this is on the keys 2, 3, and 4. So 2 is translate, 3 is rotate, 4 is scale, and you can just we couldn't do this before Warhammer. Like it's the first project we could actually scale buildings. But yeah, so you can essentially create like giant dwarf statues kind of dancing as you go through.
And then you can obviously clip them through the ground. They can look like old ruins that have been there for years or whatever. So that stuff is awesome. And then if you're worried about the battle map logic, you can just place a no-go region around it, and that way you can't walk through it. So you can totally have dwarven ruins scattered throughout your map.
Dwarven party time.
Throughout the Bretonnian map.
And
then normal. A lot of races were in this area.
It's a Norscan Bretonnian dwarven map. I mean, it happens. Then finally we've got a prefab. So these are pre-built groups of assets, basically. So inside these, you've got props and buildings, but you've also got like VFX, sound emitters, and what you were saying before, these no-go regions that are essentially used to prevent units from actually moving through it. It's how we control the where not units go. So you can literally just place these down. As I say, once again, if you look on the left-hand side, you've got your scene hierarchy here. So these are all your objects. You can then kind of store them into layers. So we're going to make a props layer. You can then kind of click and drag, drop them all in. You can kind of affect units as groups. These are all the standard things you'd expect from a kind of mainline editor.
It's just so good. I mean, people, honestly, I don't think people realize the power of this tool. Like, especially, there's a thriving multiplayer community, especially for those guys that watch us on Twitch. The fact that you can make endless variations of like interesting maps and then balance them how you want and transfers automatically to other people, I think is like super, super good. I mean, the easier the creation is, the more of these excellent maps you'll get.
Because that was the main thing, is we really wanted to support modding. This is the first time we actually built an editor specifically for making mods to the game. So this is purely kind of been made to work with the assembly kit. Things like Vistas and things like that aren't something we use internally, but it's something that simplified a process that we have internally that we thought was overly complex for new people coming on. Then you've got decals. So decals are pretty much just kind of visual assets. So it's the way we use it. The scaling is interesting.
I've noticed this, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I've turned it off again.
Oh, right.
What do I go to?
Gameplay.
Yep. Oh, God. It's difficult to not use the numpad.
Sorry.
I'm so used to numpad. It's all right. So you've got your decals here. So decals a projected texture which you can project onto terrain. It can project onto buildings as well if you tick it. So in the left-hand side here, this is your entity properties window, basically. Right. These are all the different effects that this can have. So things like clamping to terrain means that basically any object will stay on top of terrain as you're using it. Mm-hmm. So, you could try and put that down on the ground, but it's not going to because it's terrain clamped. Yeah, and you can also terrain orient it, so it will go with the normal of your terrain map. Then you've got VFX. You can see one at the top of this tower here. Some of these work, some of these don't. Basically, everything in the game gets shipped with this at present.
Right.
But some are looped and some aren't looped.
VFX in there, like weather and things like that. So
I think what we'll eventually do is we'll start kind of curating what we get in this list, but kind of little things like that, so you can have like gore drips and stuff like that as you go through. Polygonal meshes we don't really use. It's got something called a protection map on it. So essentially, you can apply a material to a polygon. So you can sort of draw your polygon like that. I don't think we ship with any specific materials, but you can add some. And then when you've got that shape, let me just... I've got it selected here. You can do effects protection map. Basically, in-game, we dynamically load your terrain and change the number of vertices in the terrain mesh as you're playing. And basically, this is a way of saying don't affect that. So, if you don't want your terrain to be affected by that based on your graphic settings, this is a way. It's kind of an advanced feature, really. Yeah. But then this is my favourite feature we added. This is the terrain hole feature. So we use this to do like all the underway maps. Okay. So it essentially lets you carve a hole in the terrain.
Oh yeah, I remember you showed this before. Yes.
And it isn't actually a hole. Literally, all it's doing is anything within the space, if it's terrain, doesn't get rendered. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the way we did it. So as you can see here, like even though he's underground, you can see it. So this is how we did like the deep depths of the kind of underway and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So the train's actually up here somewhere, but we have it going down into there, but without having to change our terrain to make it work.
Yeah.
Which I think worked really, really well.
Just to go through a few more questions. So for people that are just watching, yes, this is the new feature. The part of the new feature as well is that this has been added to the workshop, so you can share and create your own battle maps and play them in multiplayer and in custom battle. It's not in the campaign; it's just for custom and multiplayer battle in its current stage. But you never know. With enough support, you might get it into one of the other modes. And yeah, that's basically it. So there's the other thing is that it's live now. At the end of the stream, you can opt into the beta, and the beta will end when Bretonnia comes out at the end of the month. So can't give you a date in Bretonnia. I see some people asking. It's coming out at the end of the month, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just placing trees. As you can see here, it's currently rendering a decal over the statue, but I can tick the apply to objects tick box, and there you go. So it's instantly kind of working with that, which I think works really nicely. It looks awful.
This is better than all the DLCs, in my opinion. Shivar, Rassam, he's talking sense.
I mean, this is the biggest thing since 3D, I think. This is pretty impressive.
Sorry about the echo. We're not used to doing like 2 headset setup, but
yeah, it's my fault mainly, I think.
We've got big plans for this room, and it's going to get better over the next few weeks, so don't you worry.
One of the other really great features of the editor that anyone who's used editors will understand is that every single object on the editor is kind of floatable and can then be redocked anywhere else on the editor as well. It is absolutely fantastic. Like, this is how I tend to put all my stuff. I tend to put everything down one side as you go and play. So we've put a few objects in our map. It's kind of all there. So the next thing you do is you build your deployment zones.
Yep.
So, generally the way we do that is we create a new map called logic, create a layer in that for the deployment zones, and then, so deployment zones, there's 2 alliances. There's an Alliance 0, Alliance 1.
Sure.
Alliance 0 is always the attacker.
Okay.
So whenever you see an Alliance 0, that means this is the attacking player. So we'll start with an Alliance 0. You've got different shapes you can do. If you want, you can make circular deployment zones. We haven't actually ever done that, but you can totally do it if you wanted to.
You can totally, like, yeah, you can do something really off the wall, really
Yeah.
specific, where it's like you start in this little town over in the corner, and you have to make it to the other town, and this other guy's like in your way.
Yeah,
I
pretty
don't know.
much.
Yeah, you can play with it a lot.
One thing that is still in progress, which hopefully will change by the time we actually release fully, is we're putting in a brand new Terry camera as well. We did quite a lot of user testing and getting people to play around with it to see what the feedback was. And one of the feedback is that the camera we use is a little bit difficult. So we're actually going to get a camera that's the same controls as the game to play. So I think that'd be
basically
really
it'll
good.
just feel totally natural to you.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I personally didn't really have a problem with this camera. You know, it's a tiny bit different. You have to use Alt to kind of orientate it. But
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of alt and a lot of middle mouse button to control, which is okay. Like this is the one we've been using for ages, so it sort of becomes second nature. Do you know what I mean? It's like you see this as your normal. So here you see, like, I've made a deployment zone for the attacker here. Now I can create a deployment zone for the defender. It's worth noting as well, you don't have to auto deployment zones.
yeah,
If you don't make any yourself, actually, the game will auto-generate some really simple ones for you to fill in. So, like, don't feel that this is actually a feature you need to use unless you really want to get that power.
Yeah.
Once again, there's quite a lot of semi-advanced features with this that you don't strictly need to use to make a map. I mean, you can literally just load a new map, save it, and export it to game. You don't even need to do any of these steps if you didn't want to. Like, just to get a map playing, we tried to make it simple.
The cool thing is, like, yeah, the first thing people always want to do is I want to get something I made in the game as quick as possible. So it's good that you don't have to go through every single step.
Yeah.
And it just loads up in the game pretty quickly.
So as you can see on the left here, I've got two deployment zones. I've got an Alliance 0 and an Alliance 1. And within those, you can create regions. So the idea is each deployment zone is made up of different regions. And those region types change. So if I select the deployment zone and go to region, so you've got your region types. So additive adds to it. Subtractive is quite useful. And we use this a lot when we were doing sieges, basically, because you can cut areas out of deployment. There you go, circle. You can cut areas out of deployment zone. So basically what this will do now is where that kind of circle intersects with the polygon, it will cut out that circle of deployment zone to that thing. So it's quite useful for doing it that way. So there it is. So also you've got things like no-go regions, as I described a bit earlier, like, you know, you want to make it so the area, like units can't move into it. You don't want them moving through the statue. So you can literally, as a polygon, so you use left click, keep left clicking, kind of going around your statue, as it were, and then close. And then go around there again. So once again, because this other object here is a prefab, it's actually already got a no-go zone within it.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
As guys, currently you can't edit prefabs, they're just kind of pre-baked. Once again, we thought that was quite a complex feature. Like under the hood, it's quite an internal dev thing to do. But if we do find that people start using it, we've been playing around with a few experiments internally. So, you know, once again, it's one of those things. Like the idea is this tool will grow and evolve. It's not just going to sort of sit and be what it is. The idea is we keep improving
Is
it.
this the largest map size? Now, looks can be deceiving. I've found that I only ever operate within. I'll show you the map I made, but just in a few minutes. Basically, I've only ever operated within 2 grid spaces in, and I found that that's way more than big enough for a 2v2. So I think if you went all the way out to the edges, yeah, maybe a 4v4 if you really want to make something massive. But it is deceiving. Like can we see exactly where where's the standard guy for reference? He should be in the center somewhere.
Oh, reference guy. Yeah, he's right in the middle. You've gone past him. So one feature you can do,
This is one troop. You know, that was like a pixel on the screen yesterday from where we were. We've scaled everything up right now.
It's actually one of the main reasons we wanted to change the camera is actually this camera doesn't give you a very good sense of scale. When you're using the editor, like, this feels tiny because you're seeing these 2 or 3 objects, but actually, they're absolutely huge. And also, like, once again, if you've got an object selected like that, you can press Z, and it should zoom to it. I think I've selected deployment zone as well here. You can't currently. Using the assembly kit, theoretically, you would be able to modify the files, but it's not something we directly support.
But you can change the environment.
You can change the environment loaded on the map. So we've got all the presets here, so you've got your vistas. So, you know, since this is a Dwarfen Bretonnian map, you can change that there. The environment it's loading would still be Norsca, so theoretically it would be snowing.
Right.
But I can do like a greenskins environment in here. Yeah, yeah, totally. You can get away with that. You know, you can load greenskins in here, so it kind of goes to arid. So once you've created your map, you change these 2 things separately. Yep. And as you see, once again, because we've changed the terrain type, all the trees have updated to match. Because once again, that's totally dynamic. You literally just do it by painting the blend map. You don't hand place trees in the game.
I like you talked about you can place your trees if you want.
If you wanted to, yeah.
Pop down the old exclusion zone.
Yeah. So that's what this procedural exclusion zone is for. So what you can do is you can paint forest so that the game thinks it's a forest with your kind of blend map types or ground types. Then you can place your vegetation by hand, but then you can also place a procedural exclusion zone so it won't generate its own in that gap.
So that way you get the ground type and your own trees. So if you really wanted to have pine trees in Badlands or whatever, you could do it.
Yeah.
And it could be recognized as a forest.
So then also you've got your lighting system. I won't go too far into this. Generally our lighting artists play with it. Go for it.
I'm trying to kill that echo, but I'm told I'm too quiet now. It's hard to get right.
But essentially, yeah, so you can place your lighting in here, and you could do... This is actually where you can get some really fun stuff out of the system, as it were, because you can actually do things like changing the kind of ambient colours and stuff like that and play around with it. These do have a performance impact. Too many lights in the scene, too many intersecting lights especially will cause quite a lot of slowdown when you play the game. But, you know, the idea is you're testing these maps before you go in. With regards to the gameplay size, so what you see here in this tile space, this is what we call an 8x8. We break the tile system down into tiles of 256 meters each, power of 2. So basically the way this is actually a 2 kilometer tile. Basically this is 2048 meters basically side to side. A lot of the battles we had in Warhammer were actually what we call a 4x4, which was 1 kilometer basically as you go ahead.
So you can go pretty big.
Yeah.
Bigger than regular kind of maps.
So also we've got loads of toolbars and loads of different things. So one of the most important is actually kind of the grid snapping tools. So you can display a grid here. Currently it's set to 10 meters. So let's set that 32 meter grid.
Nice.
You can turn that on or off at will. You can do it that way. So one thing we have is a thing called playable area, like somebody was asking about the size of the battlefield. So generally battlefield sizes get kind of preset by the game. The game has a lot of control over the size of the battle you fight, but you can override it using a playable area, which is what I'm placing down now.
Yeah.
So if I place that down, basically the map will be a 4x4 map. This sets literally the space where the battle can occur on that tile.
Sets that white line, like edge of the
Yeah.
map area.
But you can then move it. Yeah, essentially. But you can then kind of move that out to make your map bigger or smaller, and your limit is the size of this tile, because that's the limit that we render physics. So anything outside of that you wouldn't be able to fight on anyway, because the game wouldn't allow you to. Like other cool toolbars, let's just bring them all up here. So you can do things like rulers, you can snap bounding boxes, things like that. Integration other, so you can do sound markers as well. So if you want to place sounds into the map, you can do it with this tool here.
Yeah, I put down a little pond, and I think I put some pond sound effects around it. The effects of water splashing.
Yeah. And that's one interesting thing actually I should talk to. It's a bit of an advanced feature, but we do allow you to kind of author water to a certain extent within Terry. It's kind of, we did it in a very specific way because of the way we did the tech, but essentially there should be a thing called a water plane.
That one.
Yeah. So GLB water plane, so that's in meters, so 50 meters, 300 meters. You can scale it at will, so that's perfectly valid.
What's a destroyed water plane look like?
Basically the way all our buildings work is all our buildings are destruct.
Right.
So destruct 01 is like not damaged. But then if we
okay.
give a building a destruct 02, it automatically knows that it can be damaged and can actually break. But by default, we don't do that. Like you'll see here, it's kind of going kind of mad when it's going along the terrain. That's because I've got it surface oriented, basically. So it means that it won't be straight. It'll kind of go off on one. And I can set the angle in here and the scale. So as I say, I can kind of move that in here like that. So as you can see, there's kind of a slight shimmer. And the way this works is it's automatic. Where this prop is placed, any terrain underneath it will automatically be treated as water.
Yeah.
So if it's less than 1.25 meters below the water plane, it will be shallow water, which means you can pass through it. Anything deep in that becomes deep water and you can't actually pass. So if I kind of go in and subtract quickly from here, just to show. Set my flow quite low. No? I'm doing it on our hidden layer.
Oh yeah, on the hidden
There
layer.
you go. Bit too far there, but
I guess go to the base layer and then do it.
yeah, still on the base.
Forget my layer, it sucks.
Oh, don't be like that. But yeah, so basically down that way, yeah. So there you go. So that would actually be shallow water at that point because that's looks about 1 meter below. Yeah,
Yeah,
that should be fine.
Maybe.
But yeah, so essentially that's kind of how you do water in game.
Naval combat confirmed.
Rubber ducks
Why
confirmed.
not?
Yeah, you could have little things floating on it if you wanted.
You could have
Um,
like islands kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, some things we've seen people doing is a few people have got the kind of water thing going, have done some really cool stuff. I mean, we used it really heavily for like swamps and stuff. So like,
Yeah,
especially in like vampire counts. Yeah, so when you got like Hellfen and stuff like that, like it was really heavily used there to really good effect. And that's kind of why we built it originally, was to kind of do swamps and things like that as we go.
So I think we should probably wrap up for
Yeah.
this map. Let's see.
Cool. I've barely
wanna show
touched on
how-
this, to be honest. There's
Yeah.
so much here, and it's one of those things that takes a long time to get used to. Hopefully less time than previous editors, but once you've really gotten used to it, like you can output some pretty amazing stuff very quickly. Or not.
So basically, to export your map, you just click Export Map, and you just put your own name in there. That's the name that shows up in game when you hover over it. You
Mhm.
see who made the map. Your display name is
Nope.
my awesome map. It's awesome.
Done.
Simon Mann.
No, please. I won't take the credit for this one.
I don't want that going in the game with my name next to it.
Make it an Alan Smithy, it'll be fine. So the name is the name on disk.
Yeah, it's the packed file name.
You can name your map the same as other people's maps. The system's built in such a way that it'll actually deal with maps with the same name. It generates each of them with like a unique key when it stores them on disk. So
Sorry, someone wants to ask a question that I can't see. Let's see. Oh, it's a tricky question, Artemis Shanks, but I'm not going to shy away from it. What purpose does it serve to give players a map editor but prevent us from editing the campaign map? Well, you can play battles in custom battle, or you can play multiplayer. You can play super balanced multiplayer maps and play with your friends on maps that you make. It's quite fun to make a map and put it in. Sure, yeah, if it's not in the campaign, but that's like saying, why would you ever just play a battle if it's not in the campaign? Lots of people do. So that would be my answer to it. But hopefully, well, maybe eventually it could be linked to the campaign, but it gets quite complicated when you go down that road.
I mean, I think that was the main idea, is we wanted to kind of open up the multiplayer map.
Basically,
games,
if you want more tool support, I would say support this tool. You know, if lots of people are seen to support a tool that CA have put clearly a lot of work into, and I genuinely believe it's like really good. I'm going to be making a map, and I'm going to want to play on multiplayer maps that people make. Then you're going to probably get more tools in future. If people go, nah, whatever, you know, I doubt you'll probably get much more, because they'll be like, well, nobody responded to this, so I don't know. That's kind of how it works, a little bit. So it's pretty cool that it tells you what's next, enable your map, test your map, publish your map.
I've just realised it's got my name all over it as well.
Oh yeah, so there as well.
That's fine.
So then it just opens up in the mod manager, and you can turn on these different ones. These are the ones that's my terrible one. I don't think I'll ever show
Yeah. As you can see here, the kind of key name is attached to the map, but actually when you update it onto the Steam Workshop, that gets removed. It's just when it's local to your machine.
So actually, before we take a look at it in game, let's take a look at one of the QA ones. So we just open up.
So we've had our QA internally testing this, and of course the only way to test it is to make some rather cool maps.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Mountain Pass. That's one of my favorites. Is my mic too loud or too quiet, or is it because it's echoing? Let me know. It's low? Okay. Is it better now? Hopefully it's better now. Sorry about that if it's low. I'm trying to, you know, the problem is this mic is picking up Simon's mic. Simon's got a good headset and I don't.
Sorry.
So yeah, we're trying to get rid of the echo. It's like, it's either quiet with no echo or loud with a really bad echo. So it's like, I should probably just shut up. How do we get rid of the grid again? Oh, just this? Nope.
Your mic is too quiet. The other mic is picking up your voice.
People are saying, yep, echoing a bit, much better, yes.
Okay,
better,
cool.
better. Too soft. That's just my voice. Anyway, this is one of my favorite ones. It's basically these giant cliffs all the way around.
That's really
two
cool.
dwarven entrances that lead.
That's an elven entrance.
Oh, is it? Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. So it's kind of like, yeah, the pass between, you know, dwarves and elves and stuff. And then
Using
there's this kinda
Bretonnia
like
pieces.
a
actually.
Bretonnian fort almost in the middle,
Yeah.
which doesn't really serve much of a purpose. I just love the concept of this like giant cliffs. Yeah, these trees are like, yeah, bigger than even one man.
Looks like Lord of the Rings. I think
So
that's what
they're
they've gone for.
absolutely massive. Yeah, very similar in style, those two. We're not gonna.
We need a
deny
river
it.
going through
It's quite obvious. But
This
yeah,
is really
so
cool,
It looks
yeah.
really cool, and
I say this is them playing a lot with like scaling of assets and stuff like that, and like really making them.
so
kinda fit.
we'll enable that in game. and just have a look at it as well. So let that process out, and then we'll just go into the game really quickly and check out some of the ones that have been sent to us, and just, I guess, this QA map. There's a few others as well. There's one called Africa, and it's just he wrote the word Toto from the song, just like in large capital letters on fire in a rock in the distance. So you can get totally
Brilliant.
Totally
Ode to Toto.
For sure. So yeah, it does take a tiny little while to process. It's faster if you're not streaming, I'm sure, because it takes up CPU power. But yeah, so I think it has a lot of potential. And this kind of thing with making roads, I'm interested, like I said, in these kind of like top-down multiplayer maps. How does it work multiplayer-wise? Not sure where his deployment zones are, actually.
He's probably using the auto deployment zones, I'd imagine.
Seems like it.
Yeah. So I'd say the auto ones will literally kind of place you opposite one another, kind of giving you an even spacing between both deployments. It's actually based on kind of size of the playable map, basically, but that's done by the game.
People asking about all these different DLCs and things. We're going to have more information as the year goes on about all that. Not talking about it today. Right, so what's next? Publish your map. So let's do that. Let's fire up some of these cool maps. And we'll leave Terry as it is. So if you guys want to opt into the beta, it's really simple. We'll have a kind of a guide on how to do it on the forums. It's that easy. Simon's also written a bunch of guides on a quick start guide on how to make a map. It's very intuitive. It's broken out into simple little categories and it has pictures and everything, so you can really follow along and make your own first map. So in Steam, when you hover over Library, you go down to Tools, and then you install the AssemblyKit beta if you haven't already, and then you right-click it, go to Properties, Betas, enter the code that will give you, and then just choose Cascade 2, and that will update so that you can make maps now. When it goes live for everybody, all you have to do is just run it, and you don't need to worry about any betas and things like that. And your game totally stays the same and fine. Don't worry about the game. So our game launcher is fired up. Let's see. We've got awesome map. Obviously, we have to check that out. Mountain Pass, and that'll be it. Well, don't talk about the DLC. Talk about FreeLC. This is, in a way, FreeLC. In a way. Because it is a new feature to the game where you get all these new maps, and it's a new, very big tool for people to play with. But yeah, you will be hearing about Bretonnia at the end of the month.
Once again to reiterate as well, if we find people are really using these and kind of after specific features and things like that, we're definitely going to see what we can do to support requests like that as well. Because I think that's the trick, because we really want to bring modding back to the fore again, because I think it's a really important part of what Total War is.
Can we use the maps we make in the current version? Yes. So if you make a map and you give it to your friend who just plays Warhammer regularly, he can play it. It doesn't need you to update your game in any way. It's all just kind of working already. So this is the current version of the game, the live, we call it the Wood Elves branch because that's the last DLC that came out. This is the live build of the game on Steam, and you can see that Ben Wood's map is here, the guy from QA. So it's cool, and it's huge, the scale of it. So like we said, one of the things is grass isn't generating right now, but it will once it comes out. So right now we don't have any grass. It's a tiny thing. We do have like shrubs and vegetation, but the grass was just left out by accident, essentially. So yeah, it looks really, really nice. When you get the game lighting in, the weather effects, it really does come to life.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm not sure what the little city in the middle is, but
I think he was going for something there that just didn't work out. Yeah, clearly.
Grand dreams. I assume, because that's the thing is a lot of these maps are made for multiplayer. We have very specific AI setups. It's one of the reasons we decided, look, tiny goblin village.
Yeah, a little camp they got. I mean, is that mud or is it something else?
That's mud, yeah. Well.
If it's greenskins, maybe not.
But but that was the kind of thing is the AI kind of needs a lot of setup and stuff, so it's considered a kind of advanced feature at the moment. So the idea of these maps is you can do some really complicated stuff that you wouldn't be able to do in the main game because these maps can be played in multiplayer.
You'll notice that then it has a little spanner next to it to say that it's not a CA official map, it's created by Ben Wood. So let's go down to Dwarf Ruined Wall. That's one of the community ones. I want to look at my awesome map. That's my ultimate multiplayer map, which is terrible. So yeah, this is the one obviously we just made, made it in 20 minutes or whatever, just showing off the features. You can see our crazy deployment zones.
Yeah, we're totally going to ship this on the Steam Workshop as well, because, everyone deserves to play it.
We should. It should be the first published one.
Actually, it's got your name on it, it's fine.
My awesome map. Dot map.
So
we're facing the wrong way.
So one thing I didn't author into the map, which I should have really, is deployment hints. So you can author something in the editor called an AI hint. And if you author a default deployment AI hint, it actually picks the direction that your army will deploy in.
Right.
That was my bad.
Let's check for the little water pool. Was it over this way somewhere? Can we remember?
I think it's over the other side. Look, you can see the water on the mini-map.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There it is.
Look at that.
Well, we didn't blend it too well into the
I'd
ground.
say
I guess.
if you spend a bit
it's
longer,
the same height.
you know, you
Yeah.
may be able to make maps that look slightly
But
better
if we
than
took
this.
a screenshot like this, you'd never know.
Yes, yeah. If we play the whole game from that particular
That's
angle, we
called
should be fine.
marketing. Right, so we've got, so you can see like all the little point lights and stuff. It looks really cool.
Green and red.
Yeah, we could do some maybe Halloween themed stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's the decal. It's painted down on the ground. So, you know, very quick in the game. Looks great. So I think we'll move over just to the maps that other people have made. Switching to community mode now. Can we edit the existing maps?
Unfortunately, no, we can't. It's mainly about creating new maps at the moment.
Yeah. But you could probably just recreate them if you really tried. Maybe. Maybe. I spent a very long time at it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we were talking about potentially is having a few kind of like test maps, if you see what I mean, that are done to quite a high quality, like shipboard quality, that people could potentially play with. So that's something we might look at in the long term if it...
Well, we've been kicking around the idea, potentially internally, like if someone makes a really, really good map, you know, potentially you might be able to get your map in the game. Maybe, one day. Don't quote me. But
Can we put
the idea,
Africa
like,
in?
it'd be cool to do a competition for whoever makes the best map. So, like, there is potential there. If people really take this on board, like, we can go much further with it, basically. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. So this one has been sent in by Dumon15. He won best maps for Attila. For Attila last year at the Mod Awards. And he's basically really talented, I think. And he's just had this for a week, and he's already made something quite cool. I actually forgot the name of it. Something Canyon, he's called this one. But basically, there's all these different rock formations in the middle of the map that are broken out. And you can see the map kind of up here, the layout of it. So I think, like I said, ideally for multiplayer, this would be perfect. It seems like pretty symmetrical. You know, there's 2 rocks either side, 6 on the flanks, and like 1 in the middle.
Yep.
He's got lovely details like splashes of water around. To properly make it look like these routes are walked on, you know. It's not 100% up to the quality of the ones in the game, but it looks damn good for for the first kind of maps we see.
Considering how long he's had it for, I think it's actually very impressive to produce a map like this.
So this is something I think looks really, really good, and I think he'll be publishing this on the workshop later today. So if you guys want to go play it, you can do that.
I hope so. It looks really, really good fun to play, actually. And the nice thing is, one of the things we did with a lot of our maps, we put in lots of little details and quirks and things like that, and it seems like he's kind of taken that to heart and actually kind of putting all these little
using all these little props on the edge.
incidental parts to actually make it really come out.
It makes it feel come to life.
Yeah.
I feel.
It's a nice use of depth as well. Yeah, I think it's a really good map, actually.
So we'll check out another one. Yeah, it's probably my favorite one that we've been sent. We've only been sent 3 so far. Then we've got, that's my horrible one. I keep looking at it.
You're not going to show anyone that map, are you?
No, I thought it'd be funny, but now it's embarrassing. This one's from Haxo. It's called Dwarf Ruined Wall. I think he told me he made it very quickly when we sent it to him a while ago. Again, pretty simple. There's some dwarven ruins in the center. Kind of looks like a collapsed wall in a Norskin environment or something, or a dwarven environment.
Okay, cool. Can you do a leap off the wall? Is it a ramp?
That would be cool if you could just somehow run up it.
Send your chariots up it that just kind of launch off.
So yeah, obviously pretty simple. I'm sure if you spent a lot more time, it'd look a little bit better. I noticed this thing just clipping a bit.
Awful. QA will find that one. It's all right.
But yeah, it's just like a cool idea. Like again, there's just these little gaps to get through. Like who's going to push through on what side. I think it would make for an interesting kind of battle map in general.
I think it's nice. I think a good kind of multiplayer map is one of those ones where you there is no right way to play it, if you see what I mean. Like there's lots of advantages you can use, but there's always ways of countering. So it's like this one, you can pick a route to go down, but of course you're opening yourselves up to flanking.
And depending on what race you play, you might be better suited to holding like a tight area if you're playing dwarfs. But if you're something like the Beastman, you might want to just get through to the other side as quick as possible. Flank.
No, I think that looks really cool. It's a really nice idea, actually.
And then the last one I think is called Paravon, which is like a mini little town that Dumon again has made. So that was called Gorda Canyon was the first one. There we go, Paravon. Now, I'm running his old version of it. He said I accidentally sent you the old version. He's got a new version already.
It's already at V2. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not even out yet.
So apologies for showing the older versions of these maps, but yeah, they should be correct version on the workshop if he's got it uploaded later today.
This looks interesting.
Paravon, we are teasing Bretonia right now, dangerously, but yeah, I didn't ask him to make this. So it's cool. It's like a little settlement battle, you know, almost. He's got little trees and walkways and routes through the town itself, and the Bretonian architecture and stuff. It really looks nice.
I like what he's done with the walls, actually. That's quite cool.
Yeah, the way he's kind of stacked them around.
Yeah.
And yeah, even just the simple. He said he did better blending and textures and stuff, but like even like the detail of like even just doing, oh, this tree here should have kind of a mud texture rather than just the default grass, and then all the little rocks and the slightly raised terrain here. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because you can do things as well. We've got like a lot of our decals have kind of like parallax texturing on as well.
Yeah.
So you can actually get a little bit of depth from the decal. So in some ways you could actually replace the roads with decals if you spend the
I've
time
noticed
on
that
it.
before. Like you look down, yeah, it looks like 3D from about like
Yeah.
anywhere about here, and you're like, oh yeah, it looks
But definitely the
really
roads could be a little wider as well, like I think. But it
Yeah.
looks really cool.
cool. I guess
like
it's more
the
of a
idea lot.
civilian settlement.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
one or
true.
two people walk around. Oh, you can see just even as an example.
It's the
what it
settlement
looks like to
designer
have
coming
the-
out.
Yeah.
It's got to be the width of a unit.
Oh, does it? Well, I guess in towns it would, yeah. But this is technically a land
It's
battle.
me being a pedant.
But yeah, it's pretty cool just seeing them run through like this little Bretonian like settlement here. So you know,
I think it looks really good. I mean,
I think
this,
this is literally day one. You know, in a month, I'm sure we're going to see some even better maps like hit the top of the workshop, and who knows? Yeah, maybe one day they'll make it into the game if they're good enough. So is that pretty much it? I think that's pretty much everything to cover. We could, let's see how much time we have. Right, we've got just about 10 minutes. I'm going to host a multiplayer game, and I want someone. How would you feel about playing a battle? I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you want to play a battle?
I'd feel like I'm going to lose, but
Okay, like we'll do it
we'll
then.
fight together. We'll do.
We're going to do a multiplayer battle on one of these new maps, just to show how it all
Yeah,
works.
let's do the kind of, I don't know, Paravon was
Gorgon
really
Canyon?
good.
Or the Paravon?
Canyon would be good as well, yeah.
So we'll call it CA maps. If you'd rather me play, that's fine. I don't want to put you under pressure. We did not script this bit, so it's up to you. There's no password. We're just going to call it CA maps. Okay, so
Right.
boot up your game, find this game, see if you can join it, and then we'll pick one of the new ones. So which one do you?
I think the
reckon?
Canyon, actually. I'd quite like to see it, but you're playing it, though. I want to see what happens.
I'm playing it.
Yeah,
okay.
man.
That's no problem.
I'll discuss the level design.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll go on theme. I'll play as green skins as well. Let's go Bloody Hands or something. Where's Ag? So, if anyone joins this game, their map should just transfer straight over to them and should be no problem
It'd
at
be
all.
great if it was someone who isn't watching the stream, who accidentally logs in. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
something
what is
we
this
have-
map?
Oh yeah, it's just like they think they're getting a virus or something. Oh, okay, so vote in the chat while we're waiting for this person. So Prolity has come in. People in the chat, tell us what you want to see, Paravon or Gorduk Canyon. People are saying Paravon right now. So Paravon or Gorduk?
Or Africa.
G or P? Or Africa by Toto. Dun, 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 dun. We just put the
Aw.
music on in the background. Bretonian Africa. So there we can see the map is transferring over to him, this little graphic. Slowly but surely. Go to Canyon. Oh man.
Paravon, Gorduk. Oh.
Oh, it's tough. Africa.
Sorry. Derailed.
Yeah. I think Paravon's winning it out.
Yeah,
so
let's do
we'll
Paravon.
Go Paravon. Should be an interesting one.
Oh,
we
you
have to
got rid.
transfer-
Oh.
We gotta transfer a different map to him now.
Uh-oh.
Is this gonna work? Doesn't seem to be moving.
I think it's because you've restarted the transfer now.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's going. It's going.
It's going to be slower because it's
Nailed
got
it.
all the buildings in.
It's fine. We can wait. Right. Well, let's pick an army, I guess. Do you want to? Will we swap seats?
I can just move over if you want. Or
Yeah, I think I can control it from the side. So Prolity, I'm guessing you were watching the stream.
I hope not.
Do you?
There'd be more
Okay,
irony.
let's just leave it. It's fine. We'll see if he knows or not. Gonna play as Wurza. If you are watching the stream, Prolity, if you don't mind muting it or not watching it so that we can have a fairly fair battle.
We'll get the chance to be at a CA dev, one of the two.
Yeah. All right, so okay, how much money do we have? Got 11. Funds are on large. Let's go I want to see some black orcs running through this town. Should we play as Bretonnia to be on? No, because they'll just antagonize people right now. So let's not do that.
You just shouldn't have mentioned it.
Oh yeah, let's see how wide the streets are with an Arcanarch going down.
Have a giant walking through the houses as well.
Okay, well we've got like no money left now.
Okay, maybe not.
Maybe I'd get rid of these guys then. So those will be our tanky units, and then we'll get some pretty standard. Skulkers are pretty terrible, I think, actually, but it's fine. Ugh, it's so expensive to go up. Orc our boys for those.
So I think the map's finished transferring now by the look of it, which is good.
Cool. So yeah, he's probably just picking an army, countering what I'm bringing, probably, looking at the stream. Let's see if we can fire into him, see if any of this terrain gets destroyed, or buildings. The cool thing was, I put down, so those in the distance, in the vampire towns, there's these floating towers almost at the back of siege settlements, way out in the distance. I grabbed one of them, put it in the center of the map, obviously, put a no-go region around it, and then when I hit it with artillery, by accident, it had a destruct. And I was like,
awesome.
There's no way you'd ever see that in the game, like, because it's so far out.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There is some
Unless
trial
it was
and
used
error.
somewhere else, but I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, I mean most of our
That's cool.
settlement assets probably have destructs in
Yeah.
general. So things like houses and stuff generally would have destruct state.
So that was cool that I was able to. It was just so unexpected, but to see it has that added functionality for if I. Oh yeah, Squigs, who goes?
Way over.
Getting low on money.
Remove the giant.
Ah, really? The Skulkers. We'll get rid of them. They suck. And we've got enough for another Squig.
Done.
All right. It's good enough. Probably lose. It's good enough. Let's actually. What's he got? He's got. Yeah, we'll keep that. Actually, no. No. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. And yeah, whatever. Just get rid of a few of these. We don't need all of them. Okay, and we'll spend some money on these guys. Just give them some experience.
Oh.
And I think we're good to go. Oh, he's messaged us. Closed it. Nice. Do I? Thank you. We're a friendly community here. All right. Tank Buster 95 says Bravo CA. Thank you.
But I think definitely it's one of those things that we're going to continue to improve. Like we really wanted to kind of just be supporting kind of the modding community and stuff like that, as I've said, and I do think it's a really cool thing, and I think we spent a lot of time on it to make it as simple as possible. Like actually this is easier to make maps in than our own tools.
Right.
At the moment, which is kind of sad, really. We should really sort that out. But yeah, like we can't one-click deploy, for example, from our editor and stuff. So it's like some really good features we've added, and we are probably going to start rolling these back into our own dev versions as well. So hopefully the two will start kind of living together.
Well, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
If they can feed off each other and help improve the actual development of a game, then it makes sense to do it.
Yeah, I really hope so. And I say it's quite inspiring to see stuff like this produced so quickly.
I was going to say, I don't think there's any game audio, but that's just because of this 2-headset setup again. Sorry about this, but we are in the middle of transitioning this room into a much better streaming setup for us. So going forward, hopefully in March, I think, we'll have a nicer setup. So I didn't anticipate running the game, so I didn't think sound would be important.
I'm getting game audio. It sounds good.
Oh yeah, you are.
I've got your headset.
Thanks for that. This sounds great.
I feel like such an admin right now.
All right, so.
Oh.
The Wargaming boys have left. So I'm thinking let's send the Squigs in on the right and just rush in on the town in the center. And just see how it goes. We're going to take 2 squads.
It's all mind games now. It's like, which direction are you going to go?
That's part of the fun, you know? There's a lot of fairly open and flat maps, and they do the job. But it is, when you have to think about how to navigate and things, that is cooler. I imagine that, yes, this might be a bit too tight, especially these little bits. With large spaced out units like Squigs, they're going to have a hard time finding their way around this. But whatever,
Yeah,
this is just user created, so we can't take any of the blame.
So I just wanted to see the giant walking along the little tiny houses.
I'll make sure to zoom in. Oh yeah,
something entertaining about that. So put them in the cover of some buildings or something. Just use that
Yeah, I want
as
to
your
make sure
own
they
cover.
can fire over. Oh yeah, the interesting thing is the line of sight then is going to be... Yeah, they won't actually be able to see that I have artillery and stuff here, depending on the line of sight.
That's true, actually. We have slightly different line of sight rules in settlements, of course, so actually it will make a big difference.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
This is tense. I don't think I've actually sat and watched you play before. This is kind of new.
Well, it's not anything to be. I mean, James is probably much more interesting to watch. I like zooming in more, you know. I like to look at the game. That'll be my defense. My defense is that I'm leaning over on one side and not really. I don't have game audio, so
I'm just looking at
it's
this
the
like
game
one
audio
building.
that wins it for me, typically. Right, let's push in. See, already it's like a little bit not quite exactly what I was hoping for.
But I'd say these are all things that you can totally kind of smooth out as you do your playtesting and stuff.
Yeah, true. Let's fire a warning shot, just to say, hey.
We've got artillery.
Yeah. Ooh, just fell short. All right. Stop until we actually see something. Oh, we've got action. Oh no. Wild Riders.
Ooh.
My guys are anti-infantry. Get away.
Don't run them into your artillery, though.
I don't have any protection in my artillery out there. Actually, it's a good point. I'm gonna have to fall back. All right, screw it. Let him get down and involved in it. We'll just come back out. I can see Wurzak dancing. Not just taking it totally seriously. All right, so my initial aggressive stance has been thwarted immediately. Doubt we can really hit him from here. All right, let's get out this way. We still need to protect our cavalry, which we've lost our squigs. They're just holding these guys really now for me.
But I think the nice thing about this map is like it's kind of got a lot of symmetry to it, which actually when you're doing multiplayer maps quickly is actually a really nice way to kind of create kind of certainly balanced map and stuff like that. But I think it's also quite nice that it's not exactly symmetrical. Like, I think that's the nice thing, is kind of exploring, altering that symmetry a little bit and really kind of playing around with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to make it balanced when it's symmetrical.
Yeah.
So the challenge is to make a fun multiplayer map that's balanced when it looks natural and not symmetrical.
Yeah, I mean, I think if people are looking to get started on making kind of good multiplayer maps and stuff like that, I really do think symmetry is a nice start point, because you only need to consider an element of your map and then you can kind of unfold that element into the rest of the design.
Damn, he's just hitting me with that. Oof. Blade Lord. Oh, he's retreated his... Or has he? I just can't see up that hill, apparently. According to this.
Secret hill. So that would be the effect of actually the kind of height change. So the kind of angle of that ramp and the elevation of it would actually affect it.
I guess it makes sense. Like if I was here, you can't... Oh, kind of can. Yeah, he's backing away. I've got some units in the distance there. Tree guard. Or tree kin, I think. Difficult.
Yeah. Don't forget to use your
Gonna keep my guys
lobbers.
together. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I should just actually fire down here, because I know he's there. Make him react. Damn. Yeah, that's so annoying. He just keeps coming in that view. I guess I need to kind of go up there so I can always
If
see.
you got Lodge, you can use your archers. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Boom.
Is there any release date for Bretonia? No, not yet. It'll be announced in the middle of February, and it'll come out towards the end of February. So just wait. It'll be worth it, though. It's going to be great. Maps of choke points. That's what we got.
Yeah, I mean, that is the one thing to note. These maps will work a lot better as multiplayer maps than single player maps at present.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think they're going to be some really good
He's playing so
multiplayer maps.
defensive, it's really annoying me.
Because you're playing really defensive as well.
Well, I initially ran in, but yeah, now it's just... He's got his Glade Lord just sitting in the... You think I didn't see that, man? He's trying to sit in a tree or something? Actually, yeah, I've gotten a Ragnarok doing literally nothing out there. That's embarrassing. Can you do it from this angle?
It'll be tough. I think they'll
I
probably
don't
go back up the
I
hill.
don't think they know where they need to go for that.
Oh,
So unfair. He's able to fire at me from that range. Wood elves. I feel like they're running really slowly. Like they are running. They're taking ages to move forward. Alright, let's just push up.
oh.
Strong versus a single combatant, eh? Ah, he's got guys coming around that way. I'm just going to try and protect this area up here and hold that, maybe. I'm kind of abandoning my artillery in a way, though. Don't think we're going to... Yeah, I just feel like I suck. Because, like,
It's the
not
pressure.
an excuse,
It's a
but
new map.
genuinely I never actually like play Greenskins. Vampire accounts are my army. But, like, yeah, I don't know what to do, basically, right now.
Greenskins weren't really made for kind of street battles. Nice.
Did a little bit of damage. Where's my Ragnarok? Are you serious?
It's routing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Need to deal with those
Getting
archers
kinda
behind you.
crushed. Hmm?
You need to deal with the archers behind you.
Yeah, I'm firing on them now. They're running around, so might do something. Oh, do you mean those ones?
Yeah.
I need cavalry. That's what I needed. And I
You need
didn't take-
squigs.
I didn't take. Oh yeah, I did have. Yep. People are like, oh, you've lost. Yeah, quite clearly. It's probably one of the worst battles I've ever fought in my
You're not,
life.
you're not allowed to lose, Darren. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. Let's just try and snipe his lord. These guys need to spread out 'cause they don't all fire if they're all grouped together like that.
Yeah, they're getting each other's way.
Oh, he's coming straight into the fight. Don't think my giant did anything either. It's literally the worst multiplayer game I've ever played in my life, performance-wise, on my end. But I hate greenskins. I hate them. I just feel like I can't do anything with any unit ever. But that's my problem. Right, let's just photo cork ourselves.
Oh, it's too close. You're not allowed.
That's not fair. Smashed.
It looks great when it all hits like that.
Yeah. His lord is actually halfway down. Could be worse. How do they do against these guys?
Yeah, but no, I'm really looking forward to
Okay.
see what they do with this. Like, what new maps get made, things like that.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure, like, I mean, this is a cool multiplayer map. This, I mean,
Mm.
even just from the simple decision making of which route do we take, and then
Mm.
being cut off and things, it does make you think totally different about it. If I didn't suck, like, it would have looked a lot better.
and I think allowing users to make maps gives the community a lot of kind of self-moderation when it comes to kind of what maps get played in multiplayer and stuff like that. And I think
Mm.
that's actually a really
Yeah.
nice way of doing it.
So yeah, so these maps are available for multiplayer, but only just like custom multiplayer games. They're not in the quick battle mode. But like we were saying, if we get submissions that are like, yeah, the community have voted on things like that, we've been thinking about, yeah, maybe we could put them in the game, or you know, something for later down the line potentially. So I absolutely got wrecked. I mean, no, it wasn't well played.
Well won.
Well played. I'm gonna resign. GG. All right, I'm out. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
No, good.
I would like to mention though, like I do my own videos every now and then. I've got great multiplayer content on them. I know how to play the game. I hate being presumed to not know how to play. But anyway, I'll come back next week and challenge James or something on stream, beat him. I've actually never lost to James, despite everyone thinking he's great. Anyway, there's a little bit of salt, I'll not lie. Right, so that's basically it. So just to recap everything very quickly. The beta, it will be available now. As of 4 o'clock, there should have been a Facebook post or a forum post gone up with a link to all the information you need about how to get the beta if you want to start making maps now. If you don't want to start making maps and just want to play some, that's fine. Just subscribe to some you see on the workshop. They'll start going up today as well at some point. Simon's guides will be live on the wiki in a couple of hours. They just need to be kind of formatted and put up there. We didn't want to do it too soon before the announcement itself. Total War Official says, "God, you are so bad, mate." Thanks.
Support.
Yeah, that's my team right there. So yeah, that's basically it. So I'm super stoked about the editor. I think it's really great.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you for talking us through all the features and everything.
Oh, it's an absolute
and
pleasure.
for creating the guides, because it's amazing stuff. It got me through. Yeah, it really eases you into the creation.
Yeah.
So I really do recommend that everyone gives this a try, even if they don't think they think it's too difficult or something. I think you'll really get into it and enjoy it. I find sticking on a podcast and just working at it for a few hours is really a lot of fun. And yeah, I think it's going to be great for multiplayer, like I said. So basically how it works is if someone uploads a map like we have here, we chose our own custom map, and then it just transferred to this person who didn't know anything about this, who just joined from the stream. And then when he exits the game, it'll delete off his machine. So it's really cool if you want to do your own custom lobbies and say, like, I've got an awesome map, and invite people in to play. So yeah, so it's great. So that's basically it. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll be back with Total War Live on Wednesday at 3 p.m. GMT. This stream will go up on our archive channel, youtube.com/Total War Archive, if you want to check it back and see what Simon was doing and stuff like that. And yeah, I deserve it. I deserve the hate. Well, not the hate, but to be the butt of the joke on that battle. It was pretty bad. I'll redeem myself sometime. I'll have to challenge you guys and just take you all down. All right, so that's going to be it. Thanks very much, Simon.
Brilliant.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.
Good luck.
Oh, let's see. All right, see you now.
See ya.